This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
This is a sham.
No. Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. All right, guys, you ready for it? Because last night was day one of the Democratic National Convention. And in case you were not able to stay up that late, President Biden was the keynote speaker. He was introduced by his youngest daughter, Ashley, and the president got emotional during a 4-minute standing ovation. He then talked about his legacy and the 50 years spent serving this country. Take a look.
I've made a lot of mistakes in my career, but I gave my best to you. For 50 years, like many of you, I've given my heart and soul to our nation. And I've been blessed a million times in return with the support of the American people. Selecting Kamala was the very first decision I made when I became our nominee. And it was the best decision I made my whole career.
So the other big keynote speaker last night was Hillary Clinton. She also got a big standing ovation from a very energetic crowd. And Hillary talked about a glass ceiling that has yet to be broken. She knows something about that. Take a look.
The story of my life and the history of our country is that progress is possible but not guaranteed. We have to fight for it and never, ever give up. There is always a choice. Do we push forward or pull back? Come together as we the people, or split into us versus them? That's the choice we face in this election. Kamala has the character, experience, and vision to lead us forward.
So some people were surprised when Vice President Kamala Harris showed up and took the stage. Take a look.
This November, we will come together and declare with one voice, as one people, we are moving forward with optimism, hope, and faith, so guided by our love of country, knowing we all have so much more in common than what separates us. Let us fight for the ideals we hold dear, and let us always remember, when we fight, we win.
Only mistake of the night.
Tan suit?
No, she shouldn't. She shouldn't have come out. When you go to see a big performer, when you go to see Beyonce, when you go to see Jason Mraz, you're waiting for them to come out. If they come out during the warm-up act and say, thank you guys for all coming out, I'll see you in 40 minutes, it takes away from it a little bit. She should have waited.
Well, it takes away from it from a little bit if people weren't accusing her of, like, not being around. I think that this was the perfect time for her to come out, to set the precedent that I am not only here, I'm amongst you with the people. There were also a few nods that were happening. First of all, the DNC is held in Chicago. She's wearing that tan suit, which
on
Obama
purpose.
Historically was absolutely chastised for, like it was the least presidential thing ever to happen to date.
I remember that.
She needed to come out. She needed to be there for Joe Biden. Joe Biden did an amazing job of just acknowledging, like, the conversation came up either earlier this week or last week about should we be questioning people's service? And I'm a firm believer that we should not be questioning people's service. If people have been diligent and have been patriotic enough to serve in whatever capacity in this country, they should be celebrated. And I thought that it was a great way of celebrating Joe Biden's 50 years of service, and Kamala Harris absolutely had to be there for that.
Especially as his vice president. You would think she would be there. And remember,
for the show.
He is still the president of the United States. For more on this, we're joined by someone who is at the convention all week. He's the director of programming at TYT Network and host of the Happy Half Hour. Please welcome to the show, Brett Ehrlich.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me on here from beautiful Chicago, Illinois, where they invented the Chicago-style hot dog, which is an excellent idea. and Chicago deep dish pizza, which is the worst idea anyone's ever had.
Totally agree. Somebody needed to say it.
Agreed.
Totally
Brett,
needed to be said.
No, it should not have.
It's a meat pie.
It's a meat pie, I agree.
Welcome.
Yeah, it's like someone who didn't know what pizza was explaining pizza in a language that someone else didn't understand, but all they heard was pie.
Okay, so Brett, hi. So nice to meet you. I'm Erica Cobb, born and raised in Chicago, Illinois.
Very well
so
aware.
let me tell you that the deep dish is not the only Chicago pizza, and Chicago pizza has a lot of different varieties, and they're all delicious.
Yes, try those because the deep dish is terrible.
Let's get to the point at hand. What struck you most about day one at the DNC?
It seemed like they didn't know they had 4 days for speakers. There were so many people. They put them all out there, and it did seem like they were saying, listen, we know a lot has happened in the gap between the Republican National Convention and the Democratic National Convention. But we want you to know that the past, present, and future of the party is united and going in the same direction, and we want that direction to be forward while still respecting everybody that makes up the big tent that the party still strives to be.
Brett, what's up, buddy? I'm Jeff, also from Chicago. I wish we were discussing beef sandwiches and who has the best one over there, but we're not. So let's get back to the matter at hand. One of the big concerns at the convention are all the protesters who are there upset about the war in Gaza. I'm glad this is in Chicago because it cleans it up a little bit. Our city is not doing that great. Did you see any of these protesters out there?
We had an embedded reporter right there where the protests were taking place. And the protest itself, a lot of folks said there would be a few of them. Some of them would have 4,000 people. The other would have 40,000 people. It was much smaller numbers. However, it is just the first day, so they're going to keep an eye on that as it proceeds. But it looked like all of the law enforcement was prepared for it and standing in marching formation. And some of the images that I assume you'll expect coming out of the Chicago convention will be powerful, regardless of your position on what's going on in the Middle East.
All right. Well, what's up, Brett, man? You hit on this earlier. There were a lot of speeches last night. Underline a lot, but you saw them all. Who do you think was the breakout star?
It's tough to say. There's a lot of amazing moments that did come out of this, and they really did present a unified front. I think some of the people who really nailed it are people from viral clips that you may have seen coming out of C-SPAN, even though that sounds like an oxymoron. But some of the folks that are actually more famous now for really taking it to the Republicans, while the rest of the night was pretty nice and positive, and the energy here is undeniable. I think Jasmine Crockett, who has had some amazing moments, had more amazing moments. And Jamie Raskin as well, but really, you know, Jasmine Crockett, she had so many amazing lines that I think they've been working on, workshopping, and I think will actually, you'll see a lot more in that vein as they really trotted out their surrogates who are going to be taken to the trail and doing a lot of media hits to push the more take it to Trump type of attack.
I thought Jasmine Crockett's line of "she is a resume, he is a rap sheet" was quite good. I also thought the Obamas are coming up tomorrow night, which is exciting. 20 years ago, of course, we saw at least many of us saw for the very first time Senator Barack Obama make his amazing speech in 2004, which launched him into the presidency. He will be back 20 years later. Thank you so much for joining us, Brett. We can't wait to speak with you more and sharing all of your insights.
And talk some more Chicago food.
Let's get some food for everyone at home. You can catch Brett.
That sounded like the more political conversation we had was about Chicago culinary.
It was. Absolutely.
It was controversial.
You'll get more comments about that, I'm sure.
For sure. Catch Brett on Happy Half Hour on the TYT Network. Thanks again, Brett. We'll be right back.
Thanks, man. Watch you every morning.
Welcome back to DBL. So the media reacted very differently to the DNC last night, depending on where you get your news. The Washington Post and the New York Times focused on Biden ushering in a new guard and bidding farewell. The New York Post mocked the president for having to stay up past his bedtime. And online CNN focused on Biden and Clinton ripping into Trump, while Fox News said he threw a lifeline to terror supporters during his speech. What do we think about this split and how the media portrays what actually happened?
I thought it was disappointing. You know, there's a point where even if you don't agree with somebody's politics, I know we might be 10 years past what I'm saying. I might sound like an old, antiquated man at this point. But is there any point where you just show respect? Like, as a sports fan, somebody on the opposite team that you don't like, even a Packers fan, you're a Bears fan, you would still cheer for, hey, you had a great career. I would just think that there might be one moment of humanity where you're like, this person was a serving president. Can we at least, like, not mock him on our front page? And apparently the answer is no, and that's fine. But it's just not a decision I would make. But I understand they have to grab eyeballs as well. So I do understand.
And I saw Fox and Brit Hume and many people are saying, I think the moment with his daughter was extremely emotional, and they gave him his props. But yeah, the New York Post was a little rough. Jeff, did you have a favorite moment? Did you watch last night?
I didn't.
Okay, talk to us about that.
I have 2 children, and life happens. You know what I mean?
I think you represent a lot.
But I do, just to bounce off of what Al said, I think a lot of people think like you, because I'm being a Bears fan, we're joking about being Chicago. Of course I respect Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. They kick our butt every single year, and respect the president. Give him his standing ovation. Give him that moment to walk out gracefully. He's the one who bowed out. Right? This is all because of him. He bowed out, despite what you say about Joe Biden. He is our president. And I said the same thing when Trump got shot. You don't stand up and clap when someone gets assassinated. This is America. Despite your team winning or losing, you still have to respect the country.
Appreciate that. Erica, what was your favorite moment?
Jasmine Crockett, Representative Jasmine Crockett. I thought that this moment was so pivotal because she talked about when she first got to meet Vice President Harris, and that she was clearly going through something, and she was second-guessing herself, which is what we say all the time about why don't we get real, genuine people who are in these offices? Why don't we get the empathy? Why aren't we getting humanity? And this was a moment of humanity that she said that Kamala Harris, Vice President Harris, looked at her and said, "What's wrong?" It was a showing of empathy. And when she got emotional in that moment, that is so hard. It is so hard to be like, this was a moment where I could have sank or swam, and she saw something in me that made me swim. And from that moment on, I became a dynamo in this party, and she did. And I was just so proud of her for that moment, even though people will look at it and some people are like, oh, she cried. I want to see that.
Absolutely.
Because I understand that.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Absolutely. All right, we will be right back. Welcome back. We all know dating can be complicated at any age, but Tina Pemberton is using social media to give her hilariously real reaction to dating later in life. Earlier, we spoke with her all about it. Take a look.
Tina Pemberton, welcome to DBL. Yes, Tina.
Tina, you decided to document dating in your 60s, but is it really that different than dating at any other age? You tell us.
Absolutely not. Well, 60s, it was like my really late 60s I've started documenting this. I mean, I'm 70 in 2 months' time. So it's like really late. It's no different from being in your 20s. That's what's so incredible. Men still play games. In fact, the older men play more games than the younger men. That is unbelievable. And when I go out with someone, I still feel like I'm a teenager when I go out. You know, I get the butterflies if there's someone I'm really excited about meeting. All those feelings that you have when you're 20 are still the same when you're in your late 60s. Nothing changes.
I love how you're putting this out there, especially when you're speaking to your younger self, because I think that so many of us ignore where we are right now. We're so not present that a lot of us could have a talking to with our younger selves. It reminds us to be a little bit more present. So let me ask you a question I wouldn't ask anybody else ever. Have you ever been married?
I was married for over 30 years. And yeah, it was a good marriage, actually. I just got to a point when I felt that I wanted something more exciting in my life. And I just thought if I don't do it now, it's never going to happen. And I was very brave and I left and came to London as I was living in the country and decided I was going to just start living my life.
My God. Tina, you and I, we have the same wavelength. I'm in love with you. What is the best date you've ever gone on so far? Talk to us about it.
Well, you're not going to believe this, but he was an American.
Shout out.
An American living in Amsterdam. And we found each other on Bumble and we started talking for a couple of weeks on the phone and really got on well. And then he came to London to meet me and I have never been so excited. I really thought this was going to work. He was extremely handsome and actually in his early 70s and very well kept. So, you know, it does happen.
Go Tina.
Yeah, but the problem was, you know, well, it wasn't a problem to begin with. I was, you know, usually when you meet someone, you're very disappointed, but this was not a disappointment at all. And then we had dinner together and I accidentally dropped a scallop on his very clean trousers because I was trying to get him to try my dish and he didn't say anything, but I could tell he wasn't well pleased. Then he started to ask me what my 5-year plan was. I mean, do you have a 5-year plan when you're 69? I mean, this is crazy.
It should include scallops.
I take each day as it comes. I don't think he liked that. I think he wanted more of a plan. So sadly, at the end, although it was the best date to start with, it didn't end up the best date. I'm so sorry.
Well, I got to ask this. We only have 30 seconds left, but we need to hear the answer to this. What would you say to other women taking the leap into the dating world later in life?
Don't listen to all the people that tell you that you can't do it. Don't listen to people that say you're too old. I've had trolls come back to me saying, hey, Grandma, go to the bingo hall. Stop doing all this dating. And one person came back to me on my TikTok account and said, how yucks to be able to just, you know, having your two bodies just being like together. That is so disgusting at your age. And I went back to her and said, look, you know, you don't see the wrinkles when you're lying down. I just feel the twinkles.
Tina, we love you. Thank you for joining us. To our audience, you can keep up with Tina on her TikTok at Tina Goes Dating. Thank you again, Tina. Yes, we'll be right back.
That is an instant
Great
follow.
job. Yes, great line. Welcome back. We've got some great products from our friends at Morning Save. Check them out. All right, what do you have for us today, Steph? Let's shop.
First up, we've got the 2-pack Sharper Image by Vornado Axis 12 Air Bar USB desktop fans. It has a 360-degree pivoting head, 3 speed controls, and an energy-efficient motor. We've seen these priced as high as $30 each.
Okay.
We have got this 2-pack for $29.99. You know, guys, that's saving you 50%.
That's half off, you guys. And if you have a hot laptop or if you have a hot computer or an iPad, this will give you the air you need easily.
Up next, we have got the Art & Cook 3-in-1 breakfast maker. And with this, you can make your coffee, your toast, your bread, prepare all your favorite sides, all at the same time.
This is incredible.
So this is perfect if you have a small kitchen or for anyone who's looking to streamline their breakfast preparation.
Yes.
So you know what? This has been priced up to $150.
I could see that.
We've got it for just $29.99. That is saving 80%.
If y'all have a small railroad kind of apartment or a small house, this is excellent for you.
And then next up, we've got the Hercules Tough Charging Station. This still includes 1 charging station, which can charge up to 6 devices at once, and it's up to 58% faster than standard 1-amp chargers.
Oh.
Now, we've seen this price as high as $35.
Come on, Morning Save.
However, we've got it for $14.99. That is saving 57%.
Large families, no worries. You have it all. It's a good price and no tangled cords.
And then last but not least today, we've got the Make Lemonade Shiatsu Air Foot Massager with heat.
Ooh.
It's got air compression, shiatsu massage, and heat, which can be used separately or combined for a custom massage experience.
This is amazing.
Now, this has been priced up to $150.
I mean, I could see that, right?
We've got it for $49.99. That is saving 67%.
Head on over to morningsave.com to snag all these amazing deals at the lowest prices, or you can even scan the QR code on screen to take you directly to these products on Morning Save's website. Thank you so much, Steph. We love sharing your comments. These are, of course, about Tina Pemberton.
And about me.
And no, Sherry says, oh my gosh, I love Tina. She's amazing. I'm so happy she's putting herself out there. And Shannon says, you go, girl. I'd love to hang out with her. So funny.
I will say this, and Jeff, I've said on this show many times, my favorite movie, JFK, shows I'm 100 years old. But that line that Donald Sutherland has where he said, everybody's a sucker for the truth, Tina Pemberton she just speaks her truth and people gravitate towards that. Because we weren't sure, like we didn't know anything about her and we were like, we love this woman.
Yeah.
And our viewers did too.
I was obsessed with her. I loved it. All right, DBL is new every day. We will see you same time, same place tomorrow. Stay good. Stay
You didn't
cool,
have any more words.
Stay happy.